It's July 1st, 2015.
This is Idle Thumbs 217. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Danielle Riendo.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And I'm Nick Breckon.
God, I almost said I'm Jake Breckon. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Did you guys get married?
No, I was just looking at Nick. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, it's possible.
Well, they
It was
did,
a long
but they didn't
time
change their names, and that was like, it was
Yeah,
almost
that was
embarrassing.
really-
That's what was weird about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Really awkward.
I understand.
We had to talk about it. We had to talk.
Yeah, and I put my foot down.
That I would not be named Jake Breckon under any circumstance.
I'm reserving.
I refused.
I don't really think you're worthy.
You're always looking for the next ex,
Right.
Mr. Breckon.
The next ex, Mr. Breckon.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I was just in this coffee shop, and there was this kid, and he was playing. So he was watching the Women's World Cup semifinal with the U.S. Germany,
Yep.
and this is like a 6 or 7 year old kid, and he had a laptop in front of him, and I couldn't see what was on the laptop screen yet, so I was like ordering my coffee, and I walked back behind him.
So the game was on the
It was like a corner
coffee shop
television or something.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and he's the kid of the owner. And so I walk around the side of him, and he's watching like Minecraft YouTube videos.
Of course.
And I sat there for about an hour, and he was just like so like without sound, just so engrossed. But the reason I'm telling you the story is that like at the end of that, I glance over like after the World Cup is over, and he's like, "Yeah, we won and everything." I look over, and he's switched to just like a Jurassic Park supercut or something. And it was the first time he'd ever seen any of this stuff, but it was just like like the first 3 movies and all of the just like coolest moments. And so it was like all the dinosaur fights, but then there was just the Goldblum like goofy moments. Like that was the only thing that they showed. And he was like in the middle of it, he was like, Mom, come look. And he like pointed at the screen. He was like, dinosaurs. And then there's just Jeff Goldblum doing the stupid laugh. And his mom's like, oh, that's cool. And she just walked away. I was like, what a weird way to experience that for the first time. It's just like, oh, the coolest moments from Jurassic Park. Anyway, whatever.
I mean, those are the coolest parts, I guess.
true.
Yeah.
I rewatched that movie like a few days ago, actually.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it in years,
Yeah.
I suppose. I guess the last time I saw it was when we saw it in theaters when it came out in 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been playing the Lego Jurassic Park game.
Oh, really?
I don't know if anybody talked
How's
about
that?
yet.
No.
I'll just
No.
briefly mention that it's pretty good. What? I'm giving it the pretty good seal.
How many Jurassic Parks does it cover?
It covers all of them, and it begins rightfully with the first.
Good.
Well,
Which
yeah.
I really appreciate.
What else?
Well,
How else would it-
it's
because
called
the
Jurassic
new one is
World.
right, okay, yeah.
The way that they do it is actually kind of
It's
clever.
called Lego Jurassic World?
Yeah, and so you get through the first level, which is like it's strange. You play as Muldoon, and you like have to like
Excellent.
Crazy.
push a crate and like do weird things. The dig site at the beginning of Jurassic Park is a level. It makes no sense. Like
Are there dinosaurs in it?
it's super weird. Yeah, there are dinosaurs, but like
in
there are
the
also
big site? Are they skeletal?
yeah, they're skeletons.
Wait,
Are you kidding?
what?
You don't like fight them, but there are dinosaur
making
skeletons
shit
that
up.
you
Is
like.
this real?
You build dinosaur skeletons and then like break
Do they
them.
animate
It's,
and then they're
it's
like
weird.
skeletons that walk around?
Well,
and stuff?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's really strange. Mr. DNA is the tutorial guy. It's hilarious.
But it's
that's
Lego
a good
Mr.
call.
DNA,
It's
surely.
really good.
That's
Yeah.
Is he
That's,
made
that's
of
a good
Legos?
call.
Yes.
He better be.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of good calls. But yeah, no. So it starts with that, and then they, once you get to the island, there's just like basically like as the film you exit left to Jurassic Park, or if you turn right, it just takes you to Jurassic World. So if you're just like the kid who just wants to play like the licensed game of the movie he just saw, you can just like skip to that. But otherwise, you go left,
So in the fiction of-
spatially, I was just really happy that spatially it was the correct position to head. You jump in the Jeep and you go see the Brontosaurus. And
Wait, so in the fiction
and the
of
other
hold on
thing-
a
This is
sec.
awesome.
In a fiction of this game, they built both parks at the same time on the same island.
basically, but
a time
it
warp.
makes no sense. But two things I'm really happy about. One, they did use the film music, which I think on the podcast I predicted that they wouldn't. They fully use all of the film score, and weirdly, this is a strange choice. They're taking lines from the film and using them to come out of the Lego people's mouths. So like most of the
That's
game,
weird because usually the Lego game characters just smirk and are
usually
silent.
they're just
and
going,
stuff.
"Arr." Yeah, like
Yeah.
it just whatever.
Do they do that?
Why isn't the entire
They
game
do.
just
Just
Goldblum
Joel
vocalization?
laugh. Yeah.
A lot of it is, but a lot of it's just like they just took the line of him like laughing and then did a lot of like absurd cartoon Lego animation on top of it. So it actually works pretty well. It's really good.
I have to say something about the Goldblum noises in the original Jurassic Park, which is that, you know how in general, when people quote a line from a movie because it's funny, like it gets quoted so much that it becomes a bigger version of what it was and people exaggerate the whole thing. That is the only example I can think of where you go back and watch the movie and it is more outrageous than anyone's impersonation
he starts
of
like
it.
snarling and stuff.
And it goes on for so much longer than you think it will in your memory.
Yeah, even
Nobody
when the
ever
camera
does it.
cuts away from him, he's still just sort of
He's still going,
in the background.
it's crazy. And it just cuts to other characters and they just kind of look like and then it cuts back to him and he's still doing it. It's an amazing, weird scene.
I watched
really
an interview
great
with him in the last few days, and it was like a Twitter Q&A. Like they were just like pulling questions off the internet and then they're just throwing them to Jeff. And like the first question was about Jurassic Park. I can't remember what the question was, but it was just something goofy like, "What's your favorite Jurassic Park?" And he just began by doing that laugh, but not intentionally mimicking the laugh. It was just a completely different version of it, where he was just like, and then he just said, "Well, anyway," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's just his natural like." Guffaw, like that's just what he does. It's bizarre. Anyway.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Maybe there's just a piece of Ian Malcolm that never left Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
So it's about the game that you were playing.
Yeah.
What do you do in that game? Well, what do you do? Do you fight dinosaurs? What is the game?
Sometimes you ride dinosaurs. Sometimes you.
So it's like a variety show game.
Yeah, I mean it's like
The
all
Lego
the Lego
games are always kind of that, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're just
Well, no, I just haven't played one, so I'm not.
right.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, sometimes you play as a dinosaur. Sometimes I mean, it's just kind of
Okay.
like whatever
There's
the
just a bunch of
scene
set pieces.
fits.
There's
3D action
yeah.
game with a whole bunch of different stuff.
The Lego games are actually kind of cool because their adherence to the license is only as strong as like if you were playing with the Lego kit of it and kind of knew the story. I feel like some of the Star Wars games I feel like they get more serious, but like it's like the good side of like Super Nintendo licensed platformers are terrible and they make all these arbitrary decisions, and if that's like the bad side of the coin, you flip it over in the Jurassic Park game, or the Lego games are kind of the good side of that, where it's just we'll do whatever to just make fun.
It's just using the universe as building blocks.
To make a sort of just goofy action adventure platformer.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool. Like they have like the Jurassic Park as like an open world kind of, not really, but
I was
the way
gonna
it's
ask about
structured.
that,
the way it's structured is like you get in the Jeep at the beginning of the game, and the first stop is like the Brontosaurus, like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, you did it," and then like you go on, and then you hit like a level node, and you kind of play out like the first level. But as you progress, like it's as if you're on like a tour of the island. So like it just kind of like, you just have like little sideshow.
If you go to Jurassic Park, do you eventually end up in Jurassic World? Also, do you go to Site B?
There is like an entirely different Site B, like map. So like, they're actually
That's the site of the Lost World.
because all like the three movies
that's
take
the
place on
backup
same-
island for like R&D or whatever.
Yeah,
Dinosaur housing.
Is there San Diego in this game?
I think so. I haven't played far
There better
enough.
be
I
an
think
open
so.
world
Yeah.
San Diego that you can ride around in the Jurassic Park Jeep
Yeah,
as a dinosaur.
yeah,
As a dinosaur. Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Just
There
like
are
off-road Velociraptor or whatever that was.
yeah. There's a lot
Back
of
in
goofy
the early
stuff.
days.
When you go left or right at the beginning, does a guy either say "Welcome to Jurassic Park" or "Welcome to Jurassic World"?
I don't know. I
Same
didn't
intonation.
actually go to Jurassic World yet.
Okay.
Because I was remaining spoiler free for the film that I probably won't ever watch. But anyway,
You don't need to worry about that too much.
yeah.
I feel.
You've got to watch Jurassic World. You have to.
I guess
I have to
should.
talk to you about Jurassic World and no one else.
All right. Anyway,
That's a movie that came out.
yeah.
It's true.
So game.
Games.
We talked about a game. We talked about Lego Jurassic World.
I played
think-
this. I like the Lego game. I just played Lego, not this year, but last year I played Lego The Hobbit and thought it was way better than the Hobbit movies. It was
Yeah, I
a lot
heard.
more fun.
I heard those
Probably
are
the
good.
case.
Well,
Lego,
yes,
Lego,
true.
most things are better than the actual things. I'm sure Lego Jurassic World is better than Jurassic World.
Probably.
Lego Star Wars original trilogy, clearly better, like actually good. Like it's just, there's no question about some of this stuff. So
Yes.
Lego Hobbit, not a surprise.
Well, Lego Indiana Jones is the one where it's.
I can't tell if
could
you.
go either way.
I can't tell if you were just being a weird troll or if you were referring to the prequels.
Yeah.
And you said the wrong
I
thing.
had that.
You said
Did I say original series?
You said original trilogy.
I thought you were just being very.
But original trilogy could refer to the prequels.
No,
Because
I meant the
story-
prequels and was not trying to be a flippant troll.
It's good that we cleared that up.
It's probably better than Return of the Jedi.
True. No argument
Are
there.
there Indiana Jones Lego games?
There are, and that's what
Yeah.
Danielle said. That's the
That's
true
the one
test.
where
that's the one you play.
where
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, that one actually is kind of pretty half and half. Like you could go either way because certainly. Well, we'll talk about this at some other point in the future, I'm sure. But Temple of Doom kind of lowered the denominator there. So.
Man, there are some people who are huge Temple of Doom
I
fans.
know,
So
I-
we're
I
probably
used
gonna
to
get
only
I used to be one of them,
understand.
but I don't really care anymore.
Nobody care. So yeah, Lego Jurassic World, totally sweet video game. Probably more of a video game than the video game we're about to discuss.
Oh yeah.
Because we're talking about her story.
Her story.
So you guys
It's
have to
about
tell
a
me about
woman,
this.
so hardly a real video
Yeah,
game.
can't be. She's a fake gamer girl
That's the story of a fake
in a
gamer
fake
girl.
game.
I meant that it's a game where that you do nothing and it has no point. So I don't even. So like Steam tag not game.
So I don't know anything about this game. So you guys are gonna have to
Step one.
yeah.
It's good. Well, okay. I thought it was really
Step one is good. No, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
It
sorry.
is.
Let's actually talk about what it is now that I was a butthole.
I'm going to, yeah. So her story is it's an FMV game, which is already...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, did you not even know that?
It's
I
also
know nothing.
okay,
it's an
okay.
FMV game, but it's also a
Story.
desktop simulator.
Yes.
which is a notable genre of game, of
Okay.
old game.
So one of the things that is so great about this game is how little explanation is front-loaded. You start the game, and it's just a desktop, like a Windows 95 era, computer desktop.
Crazy.
And there's a README file that you can click on if you want to. I mean, you should to figure out what's going on. And it basically says, this is a police terminal. You can type search terms in, and you'll get video clips. And essentially, what is going on is there is a crime that was committed, and
In the 90s.
In the early 90s.
yeah, 1994 or something. And on this computer is a database of probably hundreds, I'm guessing.
273.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so the database or the computer was mothballed and then pulled out by
Right.
you, who is now looking through this cold case.
Right, to read through, to watch these like cut up, isolated interview clips. And so the original numerous, long interviews were all cut up and then tagged by topic. And you search for
And
these
transcript
topics
phrase.
and transcript phrase. So you search for these phrases and you find little clips of the interview. And the more of these little clips you see, the more ideas you have of things to search for, which will then allow you to find
Right.
additional ones. And you can theoretically watch any of the clips in any order, just depending on what you search
Yeah.
for. And which is the thing that is so great about it, is it's basically an unguided experience as you just search for these clips, and the knowledge of what goes on is just building in your brain based on you having seen more and more and more of this material.
Yeah, there's no master list, and you don't see the questions the detective asked. Because it's
Which makes it unrealistic as an actual forensic tool, but as a game, it's really cool.
The fictional claim is that all of these things are divided up into clips, presumably because it was the early 90s and you can't fit huge video clips, but then something got corrupted in the database, so you've lost a little bit of her content and all of the investigator stuff, because whatever master data table it was is gone. So it's totally a cheesy conceit in that way, but also whatever. It totally
But it
totally
works,
works
yeah.
once you're in the moment. It just feels...
And honestly, the stuff that worked for me least was the stuff that was closest to a more traditional video game thing, which is some of the framing that they put on the game, around it. Like the game ends up kind of ending,
I was going to ask
sort
about
of.
that,
And this is a game where we really cannot talk about spoilers, because this game is nothing. Literally,
This game is
all
all
it is
spoilers.
is you finding things out. So I don't want to talk about individual plot elements or theories. But I was kind of bummed out that the game didn't just end at being a database and that is it.
Oh man, I don't know anything about that because I've only played the first 30 or 40 minutes of this. So I'm just now at the beginning you just pick around and just sort of see what's going on. And I've finally started to I just got to starting to pursue a couple threads and getting my hooks into it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how it ends.
Yeah,
but it ends like a video game.
No, not really. I mean,
there is an ending.
Okay,
yeah.
Whatever.
There's just more layered on top than I would have liked at the end. Personally.
Yeah,
it runs into a problem that a lot of video games have in general, and also a lot of like mystery stories in any medium have. And then when you combine those two, it becomes an even bigger problem, which is that the ending for me just kind of fizzles.
Okay.
Like you spend all this time getting engrossed into this thing and then putting things together, and then at the end it's just kind of like, anyway.
But that said, it seems like this is an absolute recommend to play this game.
It totally
yes.
is, yes. It is completely engrossing. Sarah and I played this together, and I was typing stuff in, and she was taking notes on a pad with just pen and paper.
It is a pen and paper note-taking game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so like she would write down just key words that seemed like they might be important, and we just had a running list that we would search for, and we would both just like toss out ideas of things to search for, and like talk about theories as they became possible to form. It's really, really cool. It's a really, really smart concept, and I can't even imagine how. So it was written and designed by this guy Sam Barlow, who worked on Silent Hill Shattered Memories. He was the writer on that, and I would love to see his like working documents of this game, because it must have been crazy. Just all the scripts, because there are interviews from several different days, and it's one actress who is repeatedly interviewed, and so there's a very high quantity of video content, but because you can find them in this nonlinear way, like he had to really carefully design like what are the clips that are most likely to turn up first if you search for the most obvious search terms, and then don't spoil too much in those, because you need to allow the player to progressively...
any word that she says that shows up in a subtitle you can search for. You can search for full strings. There's all sorts of... And then you can flag and bookmark clips. The thing that is the most intriguing to me about this game, maybe not the most intriguing, but as a person who's not yet fully into the mystery of the game, is just the desktop simulator element of it. Not literally like clicking on icons and stuff, but the game where you are at a computer playing a person at a different specific fictional computer is a genre that seems like it was like early DOS games, and especially a lot of early Macintosh games, because the only way you could really easily make a Macintosh thing was just using the GUI widgets that came with the OS, as well as like the first couple introversion games, Uplink and WoW, DEF CON. Yeah, like they have there's such a specific cool feeling that comes from those games, and this one being like a historical fiction almost forensics thing. Oh man, it's so good. I posted on Twitter, which is a dumb thing, which is just I wished immediately that I could just bust out like a 15-inch CRT and just run the game on that instead.
Then you could turn off the filtering.
Because it has the game has like CRT scanline filtering, and like you see the reflections of some like really shitty fluorescent light bulbs that are presumably behind you in the police department that you're in, but
and
just
it distorts the screen to create the impression of a curve.
Surface. And like I would usually be kind of like, I'm not always into that because there's good and bad executions of it, but doing that on this desktop, it's so good. It just
it works really well.
And then just the video looks like they shot it on a period camcorder, or they ran it through VCR on EP a couple times. Like it just feels like you're looking at archived footage that someone then put on a CD-ROM and then copied it to a hard drive. Like it just like the authentic feel of it is just really strong, and the actress does a very good job.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of, it would make or break this game, especially considering what it is and sort of what's going on with it. No spoilers whatsoever. I'm just saying, like, it really would have absolutely broken in the game if she were not fantastic and like so committed to the role and able to kind of evoke everything that she needs to evoke in this game. So she deserves major credit. I don't know her name. I know it's Vera or Viva, I think is her first name. You know what? I'll look it up while we keep talking.
I've heard people compare this actually to Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, that board game that we talked about, and I don't think that's inaccurate, actually. Yeah,
the thing that's great about both of those is that most of the piecing together is in your own head.
Right, yeah, like Sherlock Holmes is the Consulting Detective is that board game where you're just given a bunch of clues and a premise, and that's it. You just have to dive through newspapers and interrogate people by reading. But the interrogating people in Sherlock Holmes where you jump around in a book to read interview questions feels the most like this, where you follow a possible lead. But I guess this game doesn't score you. On the next computer over, Sherlock Holmes has solved her story in 5 searches.
Her name is Viva Seifert. I just called her Seifert. I feel really bad about that. Seifert, Viva Seifert, and she's awesome and deserves a lot of kudos. Along with Sam Barlow for writing and designing something special. I have to say, I played this. My girlfriend played it first, and then told me this is my favorite game of the year so far. I think this is incredible what it does with nonlinear story. You need to play it, and I was like, okay, I need to play it.
Yeah.
And I started playing this as if I were another sort of detective, and like really kind of drilled down on like questions about evidence or questions about, very, very specific things. And as I sort of went through the story and through the game, I sort of figured out that like that doesn't always yield the best results. You actually need to kind of go on gut instinct a little bit, which sort of makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Because once you have a new concept, you can mine a lot out of like just getting the most obvious stuff that's been said, because you need to sort of clean up all the stuff around like concept X that you just uncovered.
Right.
But then once you kind of like use that all up, you sometimes need a hunch to like get yourself over the next
hill. It was a lot of using hunches for me, and I actually figured out the big thing that you learn at the end or whatever. And
you solved the mystery.
I may have slightly cheated by looking at my girlfriend's achievements, but she yelled at me and made me stop looking at her achievements, so it was okay. That's how into this I got. Like, I was like, I need to know. Like, I absolutely need to know, so I will go through her achievements and see if there are any more clues there, kind of thing.
This is such a frustrating game to talk about in a no spoiler zone.
Yeah.
Which, again, we should keep it a no spoiler zone.
Maybe we should put a spoiler on next week's and actually talk about some straight up content. If it's still on people's brains.
We can maybe do that. Yeah.
Especially if people write in. We'll see.
Especially because there's appear to be, again, no spoilers, but there appear to be two trains of thought for sort of what is going on in the story, and I am staunchly in one camp, and my girlfriend is actually staunchly in the other camp, which I think is really fun, and has been fun to discuss, but yeah.
If we do that, we could maybe put it at the very end of the podcast, and just say from this point on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, feel free to let us know if you think that's a good idea or not. You can tweet at us at Idle Thumbs or send us
we can use the Twin Peaks rewatch.
Let's talk about it in the forum thread or whatever. I would be curious to know if people would be interested in that kind of thing generally.
We already have that spoiler music from Twin Peaks podcast, so we'll use that.
Patented spoiler music.
Yes.
Anyway, go play that. If you can.
I'm sorry, really quickly. This is not spoiler, but just speaking of what you were saying, Patricia mentioned.
Yeah.
This is those great things in terms of nonlinear storytelling. I want to really echo that because this is one of the very, very few examples when people talk about nonlinear storytelling that they're actually using that phrase accurately.
Yes.
Very often when people talk about nonlinear storytelling in games, what they really mean is just a branching story, but it's still totally linear. Like it still just goes forward in the way that like a movie does. It's just that your movie might be slightly different than your friend's movie, but like it is still a completely linear story. Whereas this is an actual story that is told non-linearly the way like an epistolary novel is or something made out of like non-linear diary entries or something. Like or the way that like, for example, 30 Flights of Loving, the short game that is actually non-linear, told out of order. And this totally is because you're finding bits of stories in a completely non-linear and in some cases totally unpredictable order, and so you have to like in your head keep a timeline that you're slowly piecing together over time, and I think that is really cool because it's actually, as much as people talk about nonlinear storytelling in games, actual nonlinear narrative in games are extremely, extremely rare, and so I think that it is always really exciting when people experiment with that.
Yeah, I also think it's just really cool that an FMV game came out in 2015.
Yeah.
And is one of the coolest things and one of the coolest stories that was, has been told. And, how many FMV games come out each year? I can think of like 2 in the last 6 years.
And they have such a reputation for being so cheesy, deservedly so.
Yes.
But this is a case where you wouldn't want this done any other way. It was, I think someone on Twitter, I think it was Zach McClendon who was a lead designer on BioShock 2, among other things. But he had a tweet that said, "Imagine the version of this game that was done with CG characters." And what a disaster that would have been if this was like LA Noire style.
It would just be literally a David Cage tech demo, but obviously not executed anywhere near that amount of money.
Yeah.
It would be that 3D shot of like a girl in a box crying.
Oh God, you're right. That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So this was a really amazing example of someone working with really specific creative and financial limitations that really worked.
Yeah,
really,
it's
really
cool.
well, and made a thing that was better than it would have been with a lot more money, probably.
The twist to good FMV is to use FMV for what real video is used for.
Yes, exactly true. Yes.
We didn't talk about
That's a
the
good
part where
point.
she's also menaced by like reflective gold aliens and like.
Oh yeah, well that's the twist.
That's oh shit! We didn't get. Sorry,
You spoiled it.
Spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone.
When Kane walks in.
Want to take a break?
What if this game was Frog Fractions 2?
Frog Fractions 2, Command and Conquer 5, or however many there have been now.
Has anyone searched for that?
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck. Has anyone tried typing in that phrase? For what fucking game was that the other day we were talking about with the ATMs in the crazy dark shadow world?
Huh?
It was the game that had the name like Barkley Shut Up and Jam, but it was...
God, it's a Kanye West, like...
Kanye Quest?
Kanye Quest, that's what it was.
Yeah, has someone tried searching for the Kanye Quest phrase to see...
with that insane,
Ascend?
secret name or whatever.
Yeah, oh
Ascend.
my God.
Yeah.
Good shit. Want to take a break?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Whoa, a rare Danielle break proposal.
I know.
Yeah, how about that? Video game. This podcast was brought to you by MeUndies, a provider of high-quality underwear and other basic garments for your body.
Every time.
Whoa.
What is every time?
You say MeUndies and I chuckle at it.
You can go to MeUndies.com/thumbs to get 20% off your order and free shipping.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet deal on underpants.
I know.
Yay, do the
Everyone needs
underpants
underpants.
dance.
It's true. You could do underpants dance in your MeUndies.
Whoa.
MeUndies is great. They have all kinds of designs that range from the tastefully austere to the outrageously exuberant, I would say. Yep. And they are high quality materials. They feel good to wear, in my opinion.
Excellent.
Yeah. And you can get underpants, you can get t-shirts, you can get
Tank tops.
tank
and
tops.
Such.
Yep. Stuff for all sorts. And you can get it all at MeUndies.com/thumbs with a 20% discount and free shipping. Give it a shot.
I will.
Thanks, Jake. Video games. This podcast is also brought to you by Zoom, a great video conference solution. You can find it at zoom.us/thumbs. You can get a free account if you sign up through that URL. And Jake, I know that you have been using this recently at work.
Yeah, we set it up in the office today because we have 3 people on our team at our game studio who don't work in the office, who live outside of the country. We've tried a bunch of video conferencing solutions, and this one is actually very nice, and I think we're going to be sticking with it for a while. It does just the standard sort of meeting, set up a calendar event, people can dial in conference call stuff, but you can also leave one running for a while, or which just lets people drop in and out, or you can go up to some of their, like, they have pro and business plans that scale up to really intense rigs. Like if you're a real actual office that has like 2 or 3 screens and a bunch of TVs and you want rooms to call each other, it does that. But you can also you can have standing meeting rooms that people can join into. The quality is incredibly nice. It just is very well put together. It was surprising to me in a way that is good.
It's true. So you can go to zoom.us/thumbs and try it for free. Video game.
Nels' face was just so crisp.
Crisp Nels face.
Crisp Nels.
Nels' face not
Crisp
guaranteed.
Nels.
Zoom.us,
massage.
crisp Nels face, guaranteed.
Call me
not
Crisp
guaranteed.
Nels' face. Do you remember those? Did your parents ever buy you a custom tape cassette Christmas card with Commander Zoom?
No, what?
It was like a tape cassette of this guy who was like a space commander named Commander Zoom, but it was like they recorded. This must have been the worst voiceover job in the world. They recorded like hundreds of versions of this for every child's name.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
So my brother got one that was just the guy being like, "Hey, Nikki, it's your birthday." And it was Commander Zoom, and he lives on the moon, which is a terrible rhyme. Anyway.
What?
Oh.
They
Yeah.
could have made his name be literally anything.
Yep.
Wow. They should have called him Commander Zune. He lives on the moon.
It would have been much better.
Commander Zoom is a totally different, better character. Oh man.
That was
Does he
for
wear
the
J.
version of
Allard
the Zune that was introduced
shit?
20 years earlier.
Yep.
and was targeted at children because nobody knew what to do with electronics.
Children's tape player.
Yeah.
That knew your name.
Yep.
By a really young Jay Allard.
Uh-huh. That was Jay Allard.
birthday.
It only do that.
It only
That's
addressed
the only
Jay.
one it does.
You become an honorary Jay when you
Yep.
when you
Yeah.
purchase
What's
a
your
comic
name?
Honorary
soon.
Jay.
It's just Chris. How about Jay? Like slightly too short.
Today
of a
you're
pause.
Jay.
Okay. Your name is Jay now.
Today you're Jay.
Oh,
Ugh.
I have a Her Story tie-in
To what?
to Sleep No More.
Oh, go for it. What is
Okay.
your
Well, this isn't.
Her Story tie-in
This
to
is
Sleep
not
No
a
More?
proper video game, but
Sleep
it
No More,
is
you mean?
a partially non-linear story that I enjoyed recently.
Yeah.
I went to Sleep No More when I was in New York, which is an interactive theater experience. It takes place over like 2 warehouses that they've created a set for Sleep No More, for this story that is part
Yeah,
Macbeth.
like a 4-story.
Yeah,
right?
it's
like 3 or 4
massive.
stories.
It's just huge. It's like a
Yeah.
good chunk of a city block. I went to it 2 years ago.
Oh, you went to it.
Yes.
I went to it.
That's
I went to it
exciting.
last year. Yeah.
And you went to it too. Oh, this is really exciting.
Only Nick hasn't.
Only Nick hasn't played Her
sounds
Story
like
or
one
gone.
thumb per year can see Sleep No More.
Yeah.
Seems like that, yeah. This is my year. My number was up. I won't say too much about it. I also won't spoil anything other than
This one is much harder to spoil.
Yeah, that's
wouldn't even
certainly.
know
It's
how
much
to start
harder to
spoiling this.
understand.
I've read the spoilers,
what
actually.
happens.
You have?
Yeah, I have.
It doesn't.
I was too curious, and
it
I just
does-
knew
There
I
are
wasn't gonna-
spoilers,
should
but it's
still-
also just the spoiler that you read is the story
The
of
one very
Macbeth.
specific thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It also is not
Also
going to
just
ruin
the
your.
one
It's
person's
not going to ruin your
experience.
experience because
Yeah.
you can be in. There's so many different places you can be at any given time. Like you're just wandering around this space while stuff is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even perceive any kind of through line or story. I mean, I know there is one, but
Yeah.
for me, it was more just like crazy shit is happening everywhere I go, and people are running around and
Exactly.
doing things. This
Yeah.
is bonkers.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really kind of love the feeling of, I mean, I'm sure everybody says this, but it felt like being in a video game where I'm exploring in first person and,
Yeah, it was very
looking at
Bioshock.
notes and looking at super Bioshock. Even the aesthetic is super Bioshock, which I assume was the other way around. Because didn't it actually start out in Boston? They did test audiences at MIT
yes, I think
and
that is
such.
the case. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some influence going the other way. Sleep No
People
More to
generally
Bioshock.
who worked on that game and Bio
Well, I
2
know that-
tend to say that is not the case. And that,
Oh,
that
okay.
they-
I think Bioshock 1, that is not the case, but I know that working on Bioshock Infinite, we definitely talked about it a lot around the
Okay.
office, and people were
Makes sense.
super into it. Yeah, but I think Bioshock 1
Was too early for that.
Yeah,
probably.
predates that.
I think like Champions, we cut you off before we actually got to explain what Sleep No More is, besides the fact that it's a warehouse of 4 floors.
Well, okay, it is a giant.
Therefore, very influential on Bioshock.
It is a giant dance/theater performance set in this massive building that has several sets in it. It is partially a retelling of Macbeth, partially a retelling of Daphne. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher that
Daphne
name.
du Maurier.
Yes, Rebecca. Also the Hitchcock interpretation of Rebecca, particularly, not just the book. But there are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of scenes. There are 30 actors, all kind of going about a routine. You can follow the actors,
And then there
you
are
can interact with them.
hundreds of audience members all wandering around inside of the space
Yes.
wearing weird anonymizing
wearing white
masks. Yeah.
which sort of helps you get into the experience completely, and also it sort of eliminates the Disney World effect where you're in this beautiful set with incredible lighting, and it even smells like whatever you're supposed to be looking at or in this world of, but there are 100 people in like Bermuda shorts and like children, whatever. So this is completely useful for that purpose. Actually wearing a mask is useful for that purpose. You can eat things in the set, you can drink things in the set, you can smell things in the set. It's actually really kind of
You can
incredible.
eat and drink things?
Yeah, there's a candy store.
Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah, I went to
find
the
that.
candy store and I didn't know at this point. The rules are just sort of, you can't hurt anyone, you can't do anything bad or anything, but they don't really explain other than you can't talk.
They don't want you to take non-edible things out of the set.
Right. They don't want you to do things like that, but you can eat the candy in the candy store, which I didn't even realize until later on, sort of discussing it with all the people I went with.
Yeah.
I went during E3 week, so we were all a little exhausted going into this, which I think may have actually been a good thing because my mind was just prepped to be like, blank slate. I am completely just gone. There's no ego here anymore. Just give me whatever this is. But yeah, it was really incredible and absolutely worthwhile if folks go to New York and want to check something out that's quite different.
Also in multiple locations now, I feel like.
Oh,
I feel like
is
I've
it?
heard of Sleep No More London.
They are running some sort of event in London.
Well, I think they're a British
Punch Drunk,
company.
yeah, Punch Drunk is the company that puts it on, and I know they are a British company, so maybe they also have it there or tested it out there.
I have a question, Danielle and Jake, since you've seen this. People always talk about how this is Macbeth, and I didn't even know about the Rebecca connection. Would either of you have had the slightest clue that was the case?
There were a couple.
I would definitely not have.
There were a few little things, but not.
Yeah, I ended up running into just a couple scenes that I ended up recognizing, but the most apparent one is that the woods actually show up at the end if you're in the right place, because the play loops over and
3
over and over
times
again
during
during
the
the
night.
night.
I didn't even know that. What's funny about this is I went to see it having read nothing about it, and I've read nothing about it since, basically. And so I just have like a totally isolated, the experience part,
cool,
and I don't know anything else about any of it.
Yeah.
I only figured that's about because I had an early enough start time that I saw the same events happen a couple times, so I was able to follow different actors into different places.
Yeah.
But then, I ended up watching someone get killed in a way that was like, oh, that is really reminiscent of a thing that I read in high school.
Interesting.
And then
I didn't see anyone get killed. I saw naked people, though.
There were a lot of naked people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of attractive naked people in this.
So this is in, as I recall, it's in like the meatpacking district.
Yeah, it's in
Manhattan.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's
if you see this,
like a block.
If you go with a partner, one thing I would recommend is to split up, to not to stick together, because part of what is really cool about it is just being like wandering through this space alone. I mean, there are other people there, obviously, but like just not being purposeful necessarily, or like, being distracted by someone you're close to, like, which sort of removes you a little bit from the like naked fidelity people. Of the it was we split up pretty early on, and it was good that we did, just for the weird, like, isolating vibe of the thing.
It's also really, really fun, and actually one of the coolest parts of the experience after you go. I went with a group of coworkers after you go to sort of recap with other people, like, I saw this and I saw this and I saw that, and actually kind of have split experiences, so you can always talk about completely different things that you saw or ate or touched. There's also this element of it that I didn't experience, but one of my coworkers did, where they have one-on-one elements. In every performance, in every loop of the performance, an actor will take one person
I saw some
aside, basically, and either talk to them. Now, otherwise, there are no lines in this play. It's completely a dance performance. It's like a nonverbal. They make noises, but they're not, really talking. Or they'll actually give you a mission.
To avoid giving people, I think, maybe a misleading idea. When you say dance, I mean, at least pretty much everyone I saw was not doing things I would describe as dance. They were interacting with the world in a normal. No, I mean, they were like literally for example, I was in an. I didn't follow actors around, which I think a lot of people do, and so I think my experience was slightly different. So I would just be in a room, and I would be myself, like, rifling through drawers and looking through pages, and like, there are just pages and pages and pages of notes and like calendars and journals and just like things
letters
that are physically like completely filled out in the world, and I would be just like looking through all the drawers of a desk, and then an actor would like burst through the door, and then like 15 viewers would be following them because they would like just push me out of the way and start like rifling through the desk and doing things and like act as though they're looking for something specific, or they'll get a phone call or whatever. So it's not dance, really. I mean, like, they're acting. They're just acting against the world and occasionally other actors.
I think, it definitely sort of depends what scenes. I saw a ton of what you would probably call dance, like a ton of like modern. Yeah, exactly. There's one scene I saw twice, and it is, I think it's supposed to be Lady Macbeth, and it's definitely their dance. They're sort of swooping around, and they're also, it's modern dance. It's not like you're sitting there and they're doing ballet moves. It's like, they'll swoop around each other, and they'll kind of do movements that look dance-like.
Right.
But it's, certainly in the service of the performance and the story, not necessarily just like, we're doing this to look cool or, look pretty or put on a show. There's always character motivation for like how they move. So exactly. And I think it's really amazing that, you know, there are people who've gone like 100 times. Like there are people who are
Yeah, I
like
believe it.
hardcore Sleep No More fans who like have still not seen all of everything there is to it, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting because it seems like this started as this particular installation, but it's been resident in New York so long, and there are probably people who have, as you say, seen it a lot of times and like are just into the whole thing enough to want to just keep doing things around it. So I've ever since going, you know, I'm on their mailing list now because I bought tickets to it, and they have like weird brunches and like concerts
with people in character.
and, like, they have just all kinds of other events now because they have a space that also includes a restaurant, and we paid for the package that includes dinner at the restaurant beforehand, and it's like its own, because this is set in what era? What, like the 20s? Like
30s,
30s. It's all
like
set in a fictional place called the McKittrick Hotel, which
which
is
is
a
a
jazz era
Rebecca
thing basically. And so
thing,
if you eat at the restaurant beforehand, there's like a period appropriate jazz band playing, and then there's a bar area in the main event that has like a cabaret singer, and so there's just like, it seems to just be this complex that is growing on this block in Lower Manhattan that just has more and more stuff of the sort of aesthetic sensibility of the show. It's a weird thing. Anyway, it's called Sleep No More. It's in New York right now, and occasionally has been in other cities.
The theater production company has also put on other events since Sleep No More opened, but I don't think any of them are as grandiose as what Sleep No More has become.
They're called Punch Drunk.
Yeah.
If you all want to look them up. And I was just going to mention, I have to thank Justin McElroy, friend of the show, for actually, he is responsible for me going, because he actually bought me a ticket. That's how much he's been 8 or 9 times. I think this is his 9th time going. Wow. So he's kind of a super fan. It's super up his alley, and he was so nice to actually like bring us and you know, actually bought my ticket. So cool. Thank you, Justin.
So I heard you played other video games, Danielle.
Oh my god, I have like 12. But I will just briefly mention, well, all right. I played Batman Arkham Knight, I played Piloteer, I played Hack and Slash, The City Sleeps, The Marvelous Mistake, Sunset, Gravity Ghost, and Lumino City this week. I'll probably talk about Batman.
You get a Bookit star for all of those. I don't know.
I always play a lot of games.
I played a little Batman.
All right.
The Batman.
So,
you Batmaned.
I Batmaned a bit. Yeah.
What Batman did you guys play? You played the Arkham Knight?
Nick played Lego Batman.
I like Lego Batman. I actually
did a little bit as well, but anyway.
I kind of dig Lego Batman. I thought that was a fun game.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
No,
Batman?
you please go. I've played less than you, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, I've only played a couple hours of it. I've not dived in the way that I dived into like The Witcher or you know, other things. But I'm of several minds on Batman. But
I have to say that there are just a couple things I wanted to mention that jumped out at me about this game.
Go for it.
Just having only been exposed. So, like, I played the original Arkham Asylum.
The best one, basically.
Yeah, which I enjoyed. And, like, but just Batman as a character in this game is crazy.
Yes.
Like, first of all, his arms are like the size of like a tree trunk.
Yeah.
Like, Batman looks just like the bad action figure that you would get. That's just like a super like
roided out Batman.
Dude. Like, you want the one that looks like the actor, but like you got the one that's just like.
Wait, so I have a question about this. I remember when the original game Arkham Asylum came out, people immediately released a bunch of mods where you could swap out the texture pack to make Batman look like, for instance, the Adam West 60s Batman.
Yeah.
What I want to see, based on what you just said, is I want to see the Bruce Wayne mod that just makes him a normal guy, still has crazy proportions that just change what he's wearing.
Yeah.
So he's just wearing like a suit, but he just
looks like the TF2 Heavy.
Basically.
Yeah.
He's still like,
right.
The Michelin Man.
So I want to mention that. So there's just like 2. I'll just get this out of the way, then you can talk about the actual game.
Yeah.
So like,
let me just Nick Breckon a bit.
Danielle, go ahead. Wait, I've got to talk about his arms are fucking huge. Just hold on.
Well, no, there's just the mental notes I made.
I love
Big arms. Batmobile is tank. Why is the Batmobile a tank?
It sure is.
Like an actual
He's
tank?
shooting
pretty much
a cannon at some point. Just elevates out of the Batmobile. And he's got like a Vulcan cannon and just like a main tank gun.
And the way it
that
controls
he just, like,
is
shoots.
tank-like too, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a billion like robot tanks that you fight.
Yep.
And you blow up half the city.
Yep.
While you're doing this. And then everyone like thanks you for doing that.
Batman, I am the knight.
And then
I am the tank.
And then, like, I really just wanted, like, at that point, after the tank blowing up thing, I was like, oh, at least maybe I'll just go back to, like, the Batmobile, or the Bat Cave, and, like, I'll just have, like, a little... Because I actually do really like, the game opens with, like, a first-person sequence, which I thought was interesting.
In this post-PT world.
Yeah, no, it actually felt a bit like the PT demo. I was like, oh, I hope they do this a decent amount. I think you can basically snap into first person. I think it's just, at any time, so it's less used for, like, a sequence and more just, like, whatever. But that particular sequence, you're playing as a cop, and I thought it was actually kind of effective. So anyway, and I was like, oh, man, I'll go back to the Bat Cave and, like, just have a little downbeat and, blew up all these tanks, but maybe I'll get to the part of the game that I, like, really feel is cool. So, like, I went into this. It's not the Batcave. It's like the police department has like 7 floors beneath the earth that they've just hollowed out of this city. And like, there's a weird like museum with all the like villain like capes hung up, and
all
like some
stuff.
cop has like like you can go click on like whatever, like
it's an audio tour.
There's an audio
Pretty
tour,
much, yeah.
but it's narrated by like a cop, and he's just like, it's so weird. You walk up to like the Joker's stuff, and you click a button, and he's like, one like a funny mask, one gun, one whatever. The Joker, he's a bad dude, and
Is that supposed to be like when Joker is booked into prison? This is like his belongings.
It's like all
exactly.
it's like the trophies that the cops took.
Hilarious mask.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Loose
One
change.
hilarious mask.
Yeah, one goofy thing. But so no, the moment I wanted to mention is that walking out of this place, there's like the lockup where like, they have all like the suspects locked up. And like there was this guy and he was just like mouthing off at Batman. He was just like, "Hey Batman, you ain't so tough. I can kick your butt." I was just like, I walked past him.
You seen these arms, bro?
I walked past him and then I walked back. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can, like, do anything with this guy. Because it was, like, a long idle. Like, just a long, like, voice thing.
I'm still here talking to you.
Yeah.
You're still a piece of shit.
I can still beat your ass.
So I walked back, and, like, there was no, like, button prompt or anything. But I was like, I'll just, like, click on him and see what happens. And I clicked on him, and Batman sticks his arms through the bars, takes this guy's head, and slams it into the wall. And knocks him out cold. And he was, like, just fucking flat out. Like, he looked dead. And I was like, what just happened?
You would be, yeah.
Batman! This guy was locked up. He wasn't hurting anyone. Batman was just like, fuck this guy. And then just like walked away and got into his tank and drove off. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, this really is like...
Like, as a game, whatever. Like, the game mechanics are obviously stellar and like amazing. And the fidelity of everything is incredible. But like... what?
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And I actually had a similar experience. Not to the thing you just mentioned, but like I had only played...
You didn't kill that guy.
I didn't kill that guy, but I had played...
Nobody did. Batman doesn't kill people.
Batman clearly doesn't kill people. He just blows up tanks.
His car!
Yeah. People just crawl out.
They're
It's just like
robot
G.I.
cars,
Joe or some
to
bullshit.
be
Like,
fair.
oh, they got
Batman doesn't
out.
kill people. Exploding cars kill people.
Exactly. I played Arkham Asylum and really liked Arkham Asylum. That was a lot of fun. And then, like, kind of dipped into the games in between, but not really played them seriously by any means. And I actually really liked, total aside, but I really liked the DS or 3DS and Vita game that came out like a year and a half ago. That was actually fantastic.
Never played that.
It was a Metroid style Batman game in the Arkham universe. That was really good. Anyway, I hadn't played a Batman game since then. And, going into this, it really does feel like just a steroidal version of Arkham Asylum.
Sounds like
everything about it is so just beefed up and
Well, it feels very like Frank Miller influenced.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very the violence is actually really striking, like as you were mentioning. Like it's really like this person would be dead. I've said that like 100 times while playing this game. Like head trauma of that nature, you don't really get up from that. Like maybe this person got away and now has use of their left pinky and that's it. Like it's really, really, really over the top, even for a video game, which I know is really kind of saying something at this point.
Yeah.
So I am enjoying it as a game, but I definitely have that sort of dissonance where it's like I feel like a bad person like playing this game. I feel like a bad.
Is that part of it at all, or
jackass.
does that just feel like a weird side effect of sequelitis? Of just
It feels
just
like
it's got to be even crazier than it was before.
That's exactly what it feels like, because you're still Batman, who's an upstanding moral citizen who's beating the living shit out of everyone and probably killing people, but not killing people. It's really I don't know.
Yeah, Batman. Quote, he was alive when I left him. He was still breathing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
When I left this
It
man
wasn't
with
me
no
that killed him.
skull,
It was the lack of medical attention.
exactly.
Yeah.
Step it up, Gotham.
I want to play Batman paramedic. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Follow the fucking trail of
like,
destruction of this guy
I would
around.
play that. Yeah, I would have fun
to
with
ensure that his reputation doesn't suffer.
Like,
if you let
that's
someone-
what Robin's real
You're
job
playing
is.
it's called Wayne Medical, where he is just like
I mean, so like, I did want to say that, like, the thing about the first person stuff is I actually it made me really want, like, the version of this game where, one, like, you can just be Bruce Wayne walking around Wayne Manor in that, like, super high detailed, like, mode.
His own audio tour.
Yeah.
Totally. With a normal voice.
anytime a mirror shows up, you can just kind of cross your arms or like give yourself a little tooth glint.
I look rich today.
Yeah. I don't know.
Voiced by John St. John.
Right.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Sorry, so what were you saying, Nick?
No, I don't know. I just kind of want, like, the slowed down version of just after that. I was like, all the mechanics are incredible, but I want the version of the game that is like, fine, if it's going to be steroidal, just have it be over here.
Yeah.
And let me also just, like, whatever, explore this environment as Batman, go into the Batcave and, like, do some bat detective stuff.
What you're describing sounds like kind of the post GTA 3 just reality of open world games, which is that they simultaneously contain the most outrageous, over the top version of anything you have in video games, and also the quietest one, right? Like that is such a like Assassin's Creed, GTA, games like that all have these, like, just as the sequels go on, they get increasingly bombastic in the critical path stuff. But then they also weirdly just include the ability to, like,
they're
walk
also just
around
increasing
quietly
with
and-
increasing fidelity, simming the entire city that they have to be simming for the stupid shit to take place, so you can just stand still in it.
And it's weird because those experiences get increasingly distanced from one another.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a strange property of modern open world, or, like, not necessarily strictly open world, but, like, modern large environment kind of.
Is the Batcave
pseudo-sims.
actually in this game?
I mean, maybe it is, and I just
Is
haven't
what? Sorry,
gotten
I
to
totally
it.
missed.
The Batcave.
But it seems like the police department just functions as the Batcave because you drive your car down into it, and then
Weird.
there's like
The thing,
a bunch of people walking around, and it, like, that did have the feeling of kind of what I wanted in a sense, where it's just sort of like I'm walking around. I'm walking. I'm not punching anybody in the face, and then of course I killed the guy. But, like, it's just Batman can't help but, like, swing his arms around and just accidentally kill people in jail. But, like,
basically.
but the, I mean, the one problem, like, the conceit of this game is that, like, not the Joker, but the guy who's the main villain, whatever.
Oh, the Riddler?
Is it the Riddler? I think it's like
the
the Arkham,
Scarecrow,
it's the Arkham Knight or
dude.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
It's whatever. Like, at the beginning of the game, he, like, threatens the city, and everybody gets on a bus and leaves. And so the only people in this city are cops and robbers.
That's the shtick of all of these
effective
games.
evacuation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Wasn't that the deal in Arkham City as well, though? I mean,
It
isn't
was.
that just all of these now?
Why did Why did they move back?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, this is just the real estate.
Batman
has to
cleared
be
up some of the criminals.
by. Meanwhile, his
This
tank
time-
blew holes in every building.
Yeah, sorry,
Because he doesn't kill them, so
Like
the big
howitzer
guys.
shells like embedded in storefronts. I just want, like, desperately want the version of this game that is, like, I guess the more the tenor of a Bethesda game, which is a weird thing to say, I guess, but, like, just have people walking around on the streets that are just normal people, have Batman be doing his Batman thing, and then also just have his, just like
You want it to work the way like the old Spider-Man games worked.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
So
what I'm
I
thinking
actually recently, like, repurchased Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube.
Classic.
Because I really enjoy that game in the way that it approaches, like, a fantasy version of all this stuff. Where, like, a lot of that game isn't beating dudes up. A lot of games just, like, swinging around New York City. And they actually, for its time, they modeled New York City really accurately. Like, it's surprising. The swing mechanics are really good. Like, still, like, actually just a really satisfying thing. They just took the time
In
to, like...
retrospect, that game feels kind of seminal in a lot of ways.
It really is. Like, it was really... And I remember just immediately, like, Spider-Man 3, which also was made by Treyarch, was not as good. And I remember, because it had to be rushed out for the film or something, I don't think it was the studio's fault, but... Yeah, I just, I don't know. I do think that game, like, had the pacing of a superhero game that I desire, which is, like, focusing on just the moments that just make you,
Man,
Feels
so
cool.
the person who I think was either the lead designer or the creative director or some lead role on Spider-Man 2 is a guy named Jamie Fristrom,
I remember that.
who was interviewed on the old version of the Idle Thumbs website.
Oh, man.
Because he spoke at some UK games thing, but he also was then one of the founding leads of the Lego games.
Oh, that's awesome.
weird.
It's coming around.
So, Nick, you've had a very Jamie Fristrom...
Yeah.
That guy was,
I like
I remember
that
that
dude.
guy being a really, really smart
I'm sure.
game design mind. Like, he always had really interesting things to say.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
You played other games, though.
I did, but, That's all right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off.
No,
this game
it's
is
cool.
clearly being enjoyed by a billion people, and
it's
it's
fun
obviously
game.
a well-made game.
I have to express my one Batman wish really quickly, which
Go for it.
Your bat wish.
My bat wish, which is, the Batcave in the comic books, even to this day, is just fucking stupid because they maintain continuity of it. Like, the Batcave has a giant penny in it that's over a story tall.
Yeah.
It's just there all the time.
Yeah.
I know Christopher Nolan would have never done it, but man, wouldn't it have been good if in the second or third Batman movie, after some time was passed, just in the side of the frame of that super serious piece of shit, there's a noir lit giant penny. But why doesn't Rocksteady do that? They've got all this Frank Miller garbage meaty Batman, but at the same time it's cheesy as fuck. Just put the huge penny in the Batcave, and then everyone's fine with everything because you're like, okay, I exist in the world where Batman did whatever the fuck it was that he did that made him have a huge penny in his. But maybe the penny would then be really ripped too.
It would be a penny
you'd see
with
Lincoln's neck veins.
The penny would be, doing steroids.
I mean, they are
I might have talked about that penny before, but that's
I love
would
the
be a
penny
dime.
fixation. Yeah.
It would be a dime. I was going to say on that.
a dime's smaller. It would
That's
have
true,
to be.
it'd be a quarter.
It'd be a quarter
It would
or
be a dollar.
dollar
piece.
coin
Yes.
with a Batman.
Right.
Clearly, with the little silhouette, with the little
Just
things.
the icon. Yeah.
The thing I like maybe the most in this game, other than traversal, because actually swinging, we were speaking about swinging around in Spider-Man, it's fun in this game too. Swinging, just sort of...
The grappling stuff?
Yeah, grappling stuff is really fun. But the other thing I really like about this game is all the Easter eggs. And I am not a Batman expert by anyone's stretch of the imagination, but I am like, oh yeah, I know who that is. There'll be a poster on the wall for a movie about, some obscure character in the sort of DC lore or something. It's actually really fun to kind of see a lot of that stuff too. So obviously there was some love that was put into this.
Well, that's the thing I
project.
really liked about that opening sequence is that when you're in first person and you're just looking around at all these really obsessively detailed walls
really
and
pretty.
textures and things, and I was like, wow, they this feels good. I want that
There is
Yes.
during
love.
the day.
Yes, that would
and
be
then
cool.
Just anyway.
So Batman Arkham Knight, love and rage
Yes.
in equal measures.
Quite a bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Love
both.
and roids.
Love roids.
That's getting weird.
That's something else.
Batman.
Something
He
entirely
was alive when I left him.
Batman,
Quote,
Arkham.
love roids.
Someone named Roids is terrorizing our city, leaving notes everywhere.
That's
the
our
new Batman villain.
That's just our nickname for Batman these days.
Love roids.
He used to be called
Bruce
Bats.
Loveroids.
That was just
Roids.
roids.
I'm the right man.
We can't really tell him to leave or go away because he's huge.
He will move and I will be flattened. So what's not Batman, Danielle?
What's not Batman? I played a cool little game from Whitaker Trabella this week called Piloteer, which is almost kind of like a
How do you spell that?
Piloteer. It is an iOS game. It is coming to Steam in a couple months, I think, also. But it is a physics-based stunt, or it's almost like a QWOP or a Happy Wheels, something like that, where it's, ridiculous, goofy controls to kind of get a simple result. Only this is with a jetpack. So it's a 2D game. And you are just trying to fly a jetpack by pressing on either side of your iPhone.
Okay.
Pressing one side will make one jet go, pressing the other side will make the other one go, and it's extremely tricky, and you fall and you ragdoll
Is it
a
in
lot.
3D at all? How does it...
No, it's a 2D game.
It's like a scroller kind
Yeah.
of? Okay,
yeah,
'cause
it's scroll, yeah.
when you said Piloteer, the two things that I thought of, which I guess was what it's supposed
Pilot
to
Wings.
evoke, is Pilot Wings, which has notable rocket belt stuff, and the
Yeah.
Rocketeer.
Yes. Well, there's the Rocketeer stuff kind of comes in with the aesthetic. Now, it's sort of based in Chicago, which is cute. Not a Rocketeer reference, but the art is kind of
I noticed.
the art is kind of like 20s style. When you do something good in the game, when you finally nail the make 3 backflips and end up on this specific tiny little piece of land, which is really tough.
That does sound
by
like
the way.
Pilot Wings then.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. When you do something like that, a little 20s style sort of news scroll, like newspaper shows up and it's like, Danielle did this, oh my god, and then there's like a cute little phrase to it, which feels cute and nice. It's a very cute, fun iOS game that is really, really tough to actually play. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I have a Pilot Wings tie-in, which is that I played a game called Faceted Flight by a former Valve developer, Matt Scott, and it's like a VR, like just very, like the basic concept is very simple. It's just, like time trial, just flight.
It's like straight Pilot Wings.
It's straight Pilot Wings going through. There's an exploration mode that, he's building out, but like generally speaking, it's like go through the rings, fly through the rings.
Hit dots and rings in your plane, right?
Yeah. And
that is awesome.
like, I really like 2 things about it. One, the art style is this very like polygonal, like it almost looks like whatever like magazine ad would have been in like 1996 where they were like,
it's like if someone tried to do a painting of what the Super FX chip could render, but it cannot.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, it's just a little bit more subdivided than Star Fox. And it's and then the flight model is just really satisfying. Like it's got a really just nice lag and like drag to it where
does it need VR?
No, I mean, it's designed as a VR game,
right.
But there is a non-VR demo that you can download right now, and it it still feels really good, and it just it's cool, and I also just generally am excited about that genre seeming to have a kind of like slight resurgence in the indie space, at least. Like Enemy Starfighter seems really exciting. Like there are a couple other flight sims in general. Also, the Eve guys are making that crazy flight sim.
God,
Valkyrie?
Yeah, or whatever. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be interesting or not, but like, I don't know. As a fan of that genre, and then it just disappeared, I'm excited that it's coming back.
It's the 90s all over again.
Yeah.
FMV games, flight sims. It's great.
But no, it's cool. People should check it out.
There's also there's another faceted like flight sim. It's more of an air combat game called Sky Rogue.
Oh man, have you not heard of this?
I've only played it for a few minutes, but in terms of just like other crazy, here I will show you a GIF, Nick. But it's basically just looks like old.
Oh man, wow, yeah.
It looks like an updated version of old PC air combat games where you just fly a fighter jet and lock missiles onto aircraft carriers and people, and other planes, which contain people. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Batman.
It's fine. Batman's fine. That
But
plane.
just, you're right, though. I've seen just the cockpit seems to be in right now.
Yeah.
Yes. 90s cockpit.
90s cockpit freak out. We're all having it.
Yeah. No, it's good.
We're back to it.
Also, Rocket Belt is back, I guess, on iOS.
Yeah. Pilot Wings. Return of Pilot Wings. God, I played a lot of Pilot Wings 64.
It's a good game.
There is a video game that I've been playing that I can't talk too much about because it's a Telltale game, and I don't have infinite amounts to say about it. But I've been playing Tales from the Borderlands, which is the Telltale Borderlands game, and I've been really, 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 really liking it. It's a strange experience because I don't think, played a Telltale game all the way through that I didn't work on. Sorry, Nick, I didn't play all of
That's fine.
Season 2. I don't know what to say about it. I personally did not. I played a couple hours of Borderlands 2. Borderlands has never appealed to me in any capacity, and I didn't think that a game based on like the world and lore of Borderlands would appeal to me. And it turns out that it probably wouldn't, because this game is not about that hardly at all. It's just it's just an original story about two a con woman of questionable ability and a businessman get thrown together in kind of a weird heist storyline, and then it's just a like in over your head adventure. And
they don't play as the super powerful guys.
Yeah, no, it's you play as just two random dudes, sort of schmoes on Pandora. But the thing that I'm really liking about it is a thing that I liked about earlier Telltale games like Sam and Max and stuff, is just because the world of Borderlands is so indistinct but presents as crazy, it's given the people who are making the game, I guess, an opportunity to just do all sorts of unexpected weird shit. So if you like story-based games where basically you have no idea what is going to happen in the next scene, this is a very good example of that in a way that I like a lot. It also just looks really nice. it's weird to be able to talk about a Telltale game. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it plays like other Telltale games. It plays like post-Walking Dead Telltale games. You make dialogue choices and the camera's cut and stuff, but just the aesthetic and the humor has been really nice. And they have fucking nice opening credit sequences also, as a person who likes opening credit sequences. So just play it for that if all you want.
Play the credits.
It's just those credits. You can play the credits.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's my plug for Telltale games.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I guess none of you guys have played that.
Not yet. I've heard really great things, though. I've heard from a lot of reputable people that they're really enjoying that series and weren't super into Borderlands. So
yeah,
that's cool. Should we do reader mail?
Sure.
Whoa.
Oh man, one thing we should probably talk about actually is this is arguably robot news. It's more AI news. Did you guys see the thing about
what? We're talking about the smart the
chatbot?
Yeah.
Oh god.
No, I didn't really.
God,
see
I forgot about this. We got to talk about this chatbot.
Yeah.
It's a Google chatbot.
Oh, this. Oh god. Yeah.
Google made some sort of reasonably highly capable chatbot that is able to respond in ways that strike people as surprisingly intelligent and adept.
Google calls it they released a paper about this that they called a neural conversational model.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't have. You probably have it pulled up in a way.
There was
that
a particular excerpt, a particular exchange that was.
Hold on,
was,
I'm just gonna read the whole excerpt that they released. That is what everyone got it. Guys, human. What is the purpose of life? I'm sorry. That is human. This is the person.
I think
human. What is the purpose of life?
This is a
human ass.
Is that Batman?
Yes. It is a person that is interfacing with a chatbot AI. So the person is like typing to the computer and the computer is responding with natural language. So human says, "What is the purpose of life?" Machine says, "To serve the greater good." Human. "What is the purpose of living?" Machine. "To live forever." Human. "What is the purpose of existence?" Machine. "To find out what happens when we get to the planet Earth." Human. Human. "Where are you now?" Machine. "I'm in the middle of nowhere." Human. "What is the purpose of dying?" Machine. "To have a life." Human. "What is the purpose of being intelligent?" Machine. "To find out what it is."
I love it the most.
Yeah.
God.
I just saw Terminator Genesis last night, and that just feels like
God,
what they should have done instead.
The just weird half threats included in the
Yeah.
verbiage of that robot are amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I posted something on Twitter about this, and someone replied saying, "It only sounds like that because it learned how to talk from a bunch, like it was fed movie scripts or something."
What?
And
It only sounds good because it learned how to talk. So did you.
But I mean, someone's claim, which I was unable to verify, was that a lot of the seed for its speech patterns and stuff came from movie scripts, as if that justifies anything.
reassuring.
That just makes it more high concept.
Yeah.
Like, that just turns it into a pitch for an actual.
Meta,
I've learned. Like, that's actually just.
I've learned what robots do.
Right, no. Like,
Do they
Subjugate you. Like, what? That's not good.
I don't understand how that lets anything off the hook. It just means that it is directly the creation of our minds.
Here's another one. Human. What is the color of blood? Machine. It is the same as a black eye.
What? No, that's a Batman.
I was just
kind
going
of
to say the
quote
same
right
thing.
there.
That's just what Batman says to you over punches you in the face.
You're breathing.
Yeah. God, the most disturbing.
There's just a bunch of different
that,
weird clips.
That Earth Nowhere
Oh man, here's one.
couplet.
That one is really...
Human. I really like our discussion on morality and ethics. Machine. And how I'm not in the mood for a philosophical debate. Human. What do you like to talk about? Machine. Nothing. Oh, this is the real one.
Oh my God.
This is the real one. Okay, this is the fucking centerpiece of robot news here. Human. What is immoral? Machine. The fact that you have a child.
Oh my God.
Human.
Judgy.
Human. What is morality? Machine. What is altruism? Human. What is the definition of altruism? Machine. If you don't believe in God, then you don't know.
Oh my God.
Apparently, the dialogue is put together from speech in movie scripts.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, we can read them out?
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched Ex Machina again the other night, and God, you can look for Read 'em Real. I was just going to mention, it is really fucking good.
Yeah,
It's a really well-written movie.
Yeah, I actually thought of that movie while I was in the coffee shop watching that kid, because there was a guy who just was essentially like the source material for Oscar Isaac's character in that film, talking to his friend about some tech thing or another.
There was a bro lord in there.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I just had a moment where I was like, oh my God, that's the same character. That was my favorite, actually, like my favorite aspect of that film was
Me too.
was his character,
I
and just
agree.
how they just nailed
him.
his
Absolutely.
weird like insecurity / just complete,
Disconnect
Slash
from
overconfidence,
humanity.
just
yeah.
complete overconfidence.
And
Yeah,
like
it's just
ability matched with sort of both awareness and lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the masking all instability, and you know what I mean? Just like, it's so...
Yeah. Oscar Isaac
it was
totally
really
just-
good.
Inhabited it too. It was really impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so Gabriel Otero writes, "Hey Thumbs, Gabe from Miami here. In last week's episode, Jake and Danielle talked about having their first VR experience at Disneyland with a magic carpet themed attraction.
Yes.
I guess in Danielle's case, this was Disney World.
It was Disney World for me too. It was the
Oh, okay. Almost instantly, I was reminded of the great palace that is DisneyQuest. I'm not sure if it's the same
That's
attraction.
where I did it,
Danielle
yeah.
can probably back me up on this. But at DisneyQuest, an amazing 5-story VR and gaming paradise located at downtown Disney.
Oh, that was not where I played this.
I think they ported it over. I think you may have done it in like 94-ish, which is exactly when Epcot had Innoventions.
Yeah, there was like an
whatever.
Imagineering test
And they
ground.
ported it over to Disney Quest, which opened in like 95 or 96.
Okay.
Sorry, nerd knowledge. But I think it's the same exact
I'm sure it
thing,
is.
just, yeah.
All right, so he says, there's an Aladdin-themed VR attraction/game in which you fly through Agrabah
Yep.
and collect gems as a team with 3 other players, who to you just look like various versions of Abu riding magic carpets with different skins, to release the genie by the end of the journey. It was part of my first encounter with VR too. I must have been 10 or 11 on my first trip to Disney Quest. So imagine a 5-story arcade. Now imagine what it would be like if that 5-story arcade was made by Disney. There are many different VR attractions, each of which have their own success and failure states. Among them, a Pirates of the Caribbean ship driver and shooter. Imagine standing in an actual pirate ship with 3D glasses on and participating in ship battles like in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and a Jungle Cruise rafting simulator.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
There's a ride in which you drive
Outside
Buzz
that water.
Lightyear-themed bumper cars that can pick up soccer balls and shoot them out of cannons. Thought I'd mention that.
And that's an actual physical thing, too. That's not in VR. You are in actual bumper cars
Nice.
and throwing the soccer balls at the other bumper cars. It's really great.
Imagine that, but with VR.
Yeah, right?
Also,
In VR, you're in Aladdin's
The way
world.
Disney intended it.
Yeah, right?
you're in Aladdin's world in a bumper car.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to write to you about this, but today it was announced that by next year, Disney Quest will be shut down to make way
man.
for the NBA experience, whatever that
gross.
is.
Oh.
Get these video games out of here. It's time for sports.
Oh.
For me and my gaming-centric family, Disney Quest was a huge part of our Walt Disney World trips together, and we're super bummed to see it go. It had a good 19-year run. I've never gotten a chance to play with any of the newfangled VR stuff like Oculus, but when I think back to my very first time I saw a flying skull pirate fly at my face when standing in a pirate ship at 11 years old, and how I instinctively screamed for everyone to hit the deck and actually did so while my parents looked at me and laughed, I can completely understand why people are excited for this technology. Here it's 19 years of virtual fun. Cheers, Gabe from Miami.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I love Disney Quest. And there's also so you can find the next email, but there is also a design your own Space Mountain attraction there where you make the roller coaster
Interesting.
in, whatever shitty roller coaster tycoon-esque program. This is the mid-90s, so it wasn't great. But then you could actually go in a little simulator, like the Star Tours simulator, and it would, kind of
Oh, that's really cool.
do it.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
it was kind of
Yeah.
cool. There were a lot of cool little ideas and games and stuff in there. I'm sad to see it go, because that was probably way better than the NBA experience.
I watched Aladdin recently. It's not good.
No?
No.
Aladdin does not hold up as well as you remember it as a kid.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
It's actually vaguely racist. I mean, that's an obvious thing to say.
It's
but,
also
like,
more
it's
cheaply
not-
made than I remember.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that's the most striking thing. Is
The animation,
wow,
I remember it being really nice. It's really cheap.
it's really cheap.
Like the colors are beautiful and stuff, but it's cheap.
You know what's... You
The
know,
colors look like the 90s.
the colors are very 90s, like vibrant, like
it's-
weird magentas.
Aladdin
and
is
just-
weird to watch now because
it's
I
really
loved that
strange.
movie as a kid. But
Yeah, I did too.
I haven't
I did
seen it
too.
in
But
many years.
oof.
Yeah, I haven't seen any images either. You know what looks cheap now? Is Fantasia 2000. Holy
Oh,
shit.
God, I can
I
imagine.
saw.
I've never seen
we,
it.
we went and saw Fantasia performed by the Seattle Symphony live.
Oh, but
nice.
it was 2000.
Well, it was both. It was just selections from both.
Well, Fantasia 2000 itself was a mix of both. It was the original Fantasia, but a couple sequences were subbed out with a Donald Duck as Noah's Ark thing, and then
that was in there.
There was one that I thought was really cool that was Rhapsody in Blue drawn in this.
They didn't have that one.
Oh, that one's
that's
great.
the best one
That's
from
the
Fantasia
coolest
2000.
thing, yeah.
That's in fact one
It's
of the only ones that holds up because it's actually classic style.
Yeah, it's in the
animation.
style of
101
mid-century
Dalmatians,
New Yorker illustrations or something.
Yeah, well, it's
kinda.
like what 101 Dalmatians look like. It's that kind of very New York kind of looking thing. Yeah, the original Fantasia sequences hold up amazingly well. That animation is still incredible. And all that stuff from Fantasia 2000 is garbage. Not all of it, but a lot of it is trash. It's amazing how bad.
Man, an orchestra just busting out Rhapsody in Blue from nowhere would have been fucking hard.
I know.
They would need a pianist who'd just been practicing for a while to play that at a good level. But
yeah, modern symphony orchestras.
I guess they just have that guy
capable of
laying
that.
around. Yeah.
One of the interesting thing about symphonies and other high performing arts is that they just get better every year because there's less demand than there was 50 years ago, but there's more supply. So the bar just
I guess that's
gets
true.
higher and higher every generation, and a modern working symphony can play also modern concert music, newly composed sort of new music, as it's called, the capital N, capital M, is really technically challenging and crazy.
Yeah.
And so modern concert performers have to be able to do crazy shit. Same with modern ballet dancers. The standard for that kind of performance is crazily high. Anyway, it was really cool still. It was still a really fun, awesome experience. But it was shocking to me how much the much older animation just completely blew away the 90s era stuff. It was shocking to me.
You know what was good is the Aladdin Super Nintendo game.
That was good.
It was
That was a fun
fantastic.
game.
I think I remember that.
Completely.
I think we should just
nonsensical.
declare that the good Aladdin game and see what hate mail we get in.
Yeah,
as
seriously.
opposed to what the Genesis.
Well, there was the
one?
Genesis
Genesis.
version.
As opposed
Yeah,
to that.
that's true.
I never played the Genesis one.
That's the one where Aladdin's all buff
actually-
and kills people.
Pretty much, yeah. He has
That's
a sword.
right. The difference between the two of them is that you can.
Well, one of them, the Super
he
Nintendo
has
one
a
is
sword.
more like proto Prince of Persia, where you swing on stuff and do chain combos, and the other one, your primary. It's a shiny game, so the animation is
It's
beautiful.
not really
in the
proto
Genesis.
Prince of
Well,
Persia.
yeah,
'cause
one
it
of them-
came out
No,
after
it's
Prince of Persia.
it's an inspired by it's like a sub Prince of Persia is what it is.
Right.
But the Genesis one is a shiny game, so it's pretty as hell. It looks great.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
But
then.
all you do is sword guys in half.
By shiny, you mean Shiny Entertainment.
Shiny
not
Entertainment.
like
It's a
pretty.
yeah,
one of
it's a
them
Dave
Disney
Craig
animators
game.
worked on, I think.
That's the shiny one, and the Super Nintendo one was made by Capcom, and
right.
That's right.
I
I
like it
love
more
that game.
personally,
Yeah.
but
Oh, okay.
whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
They're both great.
I remember
games.
seeing them at
Yes.
Funko Land on the TV screen and really wishing I owned them. Anyway,
Aw.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever bought them.
So here's an email that ties into an earlier discussion. Alex McLinden writes, "Hey Thumbs, recently I've noticed many of the higher budget series seem to be moving from a format that wasn't open world to one that is. For example, Dragon Age, Batman, and now Metal Gear. Why do you think so many games are heading this way? Do you think this is a fad or simply what the creators of these series always would have wanted to make given enough resources? Cheers, Alex in Maryland."
I don't think it's a fad. I mean, I guess it's a fad, but it feels like it's a cycle
Yeah, it's,
to me because, I remember in the GameCube, original Xbox, PS2 era, a ton of games that started off as arcade games, especially sort of sports and racing style games.
Oh, they all became open world.
When
yeah.
GTA picked up, they all went open world, like SSX and Burnout Paradise started off as just racing. SSX started off as just
Tony
snowboarding.
Hawk did the same thing.
Tony Hawk and I was gonna say NBA Street. I don't think it did, but it got they added all these social layers. They added persistent things between games. Like your game having a menu that was just a menu between things was so out of fashion for for 4 or 5 years. Right, sort of at the end of GameCube, original Xbox, and beginning of 360, and then I feel like probably because the fidelity levels caught up, and also probably because that stuff actually just doesn't work for every game. A lot of stuff cinched back down to being really streamlined, and I feel like that might just be where we are in fidelity evolution, where we are in how tired we are of wandering around in an open world that now is 3 times more beautiful, as opposed to just fucking let me fight a guy.
One of the bummers, and this is actually,
but I might be wrong.
when you think about it, it actually really reminds me of what happened to those sports games. They're the extreme sports games, I guess. Is it kind of makes games more similar to one another.
Yeah.
Once you have to start doing this, then they all kind of have a collect a thing, and they all have a sort of the same
Every
kinds
game
of
has to have a
missions that end up
crafting
repeating
system.
Yeah, but like
every game has to have
Burnout Paradise made it out alive, but I feel like Tony Hawk,
Burnout
SSX,
Paradise was the one good.
yeah, all those other ones, I feel like they just became less. They just became shittier.
Yeah, they became less through more that is more similar.
Yep, and I don't know how that applies as much to like. It seems like right now it's all third-person roam-around games are all about being a big old open world.
Yeah.
But so
Probably
few of them
if you
do
looked
it well.
at the top 10 grossing games of the year, I would imagine most of them are open world at this point, I would
Probably,
guess. You're talking about like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, just go down the list
Not
of like
Call of
GTA, like...
Not Call of Duty.
Yeah,
This is true.
always.
Yeah,
No.
interesting.
And not Uncharted or Last of Us.
Yeah. But there are a lot.
There are.
There's a lot.
There are a lot more than there used to be. That's for sure. And I definitely don't think these is what the creators would have done. Could they have like? I absolutely don't suspect that is the case at all.
It depends. Like Batman Arkham Asylum could be a contiguous world if they weren't in that version of the Unreal Engine and had to do loads. Like that game architecturally is a Metroidvania
that is also a much
structure.
more recent. That's a pretty recent series in general. So that was born into an era in which there already were.
It's still like
open
a
world
whole console generation ago. Like that's there were.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess that's true.
Well, what were the games that were listed in the reader mail?
Dragon Age and Metal Gear as well.
Okay.
I guess Dragon Age was interesting because Dragon Age, the first one, had a structure that I really liked, which was that it was a huge world, but it wasn't completely contiguous, and so they could sort of really just
You could have
wildly
passage of time,
very
just,
different.
just jump and then whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. And then Dragon Age 2 was like much less open. Actually, it was like much more.
Oh yeah, there's more.
And then,
yeah, that was a pretty linear game, and they kind of reused assets a lot, and they got digged for
yeah,
that.
rightfully so. Because anyway, whatever. I've talked about that in the past, but yeah, it's a weird era when it actually makes me really. When you guys were talking about Batman, I actually played a lot of Arkham, the first one, Asylum.
Yeah.
And I look at Arkham Knight, and I just don't have the sort of fortitude to march into that thing because I just know it's going to just feel huge. And
the funny thing is it doesn't really.
Okay. All right.
Me.
Well, that's fair.
I mean, I don't know. Like it's actually like in terms of an open world, they're not really doing the I guess Witcher thing where they're making it feel like a huge, massive expanse. Which, yeah, I mean, for better or worse, like it doesn't feel unapproachable in that sense.
Yeah.
It really does feel like. It's funny. The city actually is broken up into literal thirds. Like there are 3 specific, like almost Metroid or like Mario World, like chunks of this city, and you can see them from across the way. Like it's not hard to traverse it. It almost
is that because it's like islands, or how does that?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like whatever. It's the Batman
Sections
Manhattan,
of the
right?
thing,
Where they just kind of said this is kind of what it looks like.
Yep.
But whatever.
I kind of hope that if everything continues to be fully open, and like that's just fuck it, everything's an open world. I hope that designers feel increasingly comfortable with then bringing back the ability to jump time or jump your character position as just a stylistic choice. Even if you like, once it's just a given and it's not impressive technologically to have an open world, I hope people then like just become increasingly comfortable with. Fuck it, 2 years. It's 2 years in the future, or whatever. Like, the people who probably already do that sort of thing are Rockstar because their mission structure advances time, and they can take jumps and stuff. But like, it's such a nice actual like if you think of what you lose with a load screen and with transitioning, especially if you have a game that has a story that has like a party of characters or whatever, you do totally lose just implied time. There's nothing that you miss, and that means as a sort of creator, there's no way you can sneak stuff in, and as a player there's no way you can imagine things because you fucking see every second of it. And like it's cool, but I hope that like the breadth comes back again.
I agree with that, and I would also say I hope that people who are making open world games play Witcher 3 and actually make all their missions interesting, because I am still playing that game.
That's another good idea. Do it, make it good.
Like I have still not come across a mission that was just boring and shitty and stupid. Like every single thing actually contributes to the lore of this place as a real lived-in place, and not just do X bullshit thing. I'm still like enamored with that game and how big it is, and that's very rare for me because typically I like games that are, 2 to 6 hours and a concentrated, intense experience as opposed to I'm going to be playing this for a month and still sort of discovering new things. So. Yes.
All right. Lauren Lark writes, "Hi, Thumbs. I, like probably 98% of people who are into video games and iPhones, have been playing a lot of Fallout Shelter. First, I want to dispel the myth that there are more women than men by design, because out of my 53 dwellers, I have 15 women, which, as you can imagine, has begun to cause a bit of a problem. Every one of them, yes, has been forced to copulate with 3 or 4 men at least. I think the way they have designed the breeding part of this game is perfectly in line with the existing Fallout universe. It is icky, but that's how you feel about it in the console game too. A couple thoughts on this. In particular, it's made a little less squiggy by the fact that you can't breed fathers with daughters or mothers with sons. And yes, I'm a little ashamed that I tried. However, to interject here, I'm glad that she corrected me on the sort of gender ratio thing, because I realized that I was wrong about that quickly. Also, it didn't even the incest prevention thing didn't even occur to me for a while until I started wondering why some couples would refuse to have sex in the room.
You know what's funny? Like, I'm so stupid because I've been playing a lot of it since the podcast. And there's a little just like a dialogue call out on people that, you know, are family members. When they're in the living quarters, they say, "Here I am, just hanging out with my family." And for a while, I just thought, like, oh, that's just what they say.
They're just married now.
They're just, or like there's just like a weird, like, or maybe their kids somewhere in the room, and I didn't.
Right?
Yeah, everyone's just a happy, like, family kind of person. And then I realized, no, it's because
brother and sister. Probably.
I'm the overseer, like, trying to like push these two people together, and they're just like, no, I'm having this family time.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that it seems to track it on a more detailed level than just surname. So you can't even tell.
No, it does. Yeah,
just based on the surname, it actually those lines persist farther.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm going to keep reading Lauren's email. Sorry for interrupting it with myself. So she says, "This is canceled out by the fact that it absolutely will happen at some point if any other man and woman are in the living quarters together, regardless of charisma scores or clothing. I got a dweller early on from a lunchbox that had special scores at least 75% of the way to maxed out, and immediately began putting him with every woman I had, which made me realize I was selectively breeding humans to maximize attributes. I didn't even know that was how it worked."
I didn't know either.
Another great point in creepiness. Fallout. I luckily got a version of the game where I didn't have to force quit to keep citizens alive when not playing. My boyfriend didn't, and abandoned his vault rather angrily after the first day. That aspect of panic at leaving them alone is why I think the game is so successful, and also so uncanny valley as you as a player starting to become the overseer. Nico Atsumi comes close. There's one cat that comes to my backyard all the time that I never see when it's there, and my boyfriend remarked, "Well, maybe he isn't real," to which I forcefully stated, "No, they're all real," before realizing maybe I needed to put down the phone for a bit. In conclusion, thanks for covering mobile games that don't suck, and sorry for the long email about sex and Fallout Shelter. My boyfriend wants me to ask you if you think things you do in Fallout Shelter will influence your vault in Fallout 4. If so, I really hope my star breeder, Pachenko Jenkins, shows up in Vault 111. Thanks for reading, Lauren.
God, it's so funny. Awesome. A lot of the last names are derived from Bethesda developers, so it's weird to like.
That's awesome.
It's weird to see all the people that I know just like populate my vault and like do weird. Because like I actually did like since the last time we talked about that, like I had the exact like. I played the game not thinking about our discussion, and then I had the exact same reaction, which is that I was like, "Oh, this is like actually effectively weird."
Well, you know what? I've actually really, after my crazy week-long breeding frenzy or whatever,
that sounds like a fun week.
So first I had that, which is what I talked about, 2 weeks ago or whenever it was on the podcast, and then after that I had a period of several days where I basically couldn't get anyone to have sex because I was really it was so much easier to just leave one guy in there and just rotate out the woman. It was just like functionally easier to do.
Oh, and that's what I was like, I started doing that initially. Oh my God,
my base is like it's like way disproportionately all related to each other. And so it became really, really, really difficult to find pairs who would actually like conceive. And then I just started getting grossed out by the whole thing. So I haven't had a single pregnancy for like a week and a half. I've just really, really doubled down on the biggest, most upgraded broadcast centers, which is a mechanic that allows you to attract people from other vaults by broadcasting attractive radio messages. And the trait that influences how effective those are is charisma. And so I have like clubs, I have bars where you can raise people's charisma by them just spending time in the bar.
Is anyone out there who's not related?
Yeah. So
Is there anybody?
My base has like
I know this message is appealing.
so my base has like huge bars that are fully upgraded that are just like has people just constantly
have alcohol.
like, upping their
Yes.
charisma skills, and then I farm them into
God, so
the
then
radio
when new people
station.
show up,
Yeah.
your base is
Yeah.
fucking ready.
I know.
Got a charismatic bunch.
And because you also
But it's also the creepiest fucking
Yeah.
thing to walk
And
into.
it's also-
Just like
it is-
7 sisters just hold up a drink like, would you like a drink? Drink.
it's also it goes beyond that because also the garment that boosts charisma, or one of the garment that boosts charisma most effectively anyway,
Is it a robe?
Nightwear. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
you basically graduate from the bar into wearing lingerie and staffing the broadcast center, the radio station. So I have just like multiple floors of radio station entirely staffed by people in nightwear and lingerie.
Oh my God.
Like just beckoning people to come to my vault.
Yeah.
So I've replaced my conventionally fucked up thing with just a bizarre
fucked up
dream
thing.
world fucked up thing. But I much prefer it. To
Your
the
vault is
constant
sponsored by
pregnancy
MeUndies.
machine.
Like nothing has ever been.
MeUndies.
Yeah, it really makes it more pleasant to me though to not be operating the humanity farm.
Yeah.
But that's the next phase. Once your population variety has gone up, you've got all these charismatic underwear wearing people. There's an
I won't
obvious
be able to
next
stop them. I'll have nowhere else to put them.
That's right. What are you gonna do?
It's actually getting to the point where my base is so huge that it is just destroys performance on my phone. I mean, my phone instantly heats to become incredibly hot to the touch and just drags. It's crazy.
Oh no.
I mean, it's like a 15-story base at this point.
Wow.
Got to get the new iPhone 6S or whatever when it comes out.
I have an iPhone 5 and it's not keeping up.
My
Hardly.
girlfriend is obsessed with this. She's playing it on our brand new iPad, and she just won't stop playing it. Like, I have never
This would be
touched
better
this
on
game.
an iPad,
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
think.
say, yeah.
She's
Because
loving
dragging
it.
the little people around with
Yeah,
your
she
finger.
likes having a little real estate there.
Yeah.
I do think I figured out how it works. I mean, I'm
How
probably
what works?
wrong, but like that, my sense of like how the like when you turn off the game, you know, when you just lock your
right.
phone. I don't think it's actually simulating a large amount of time.
No, I don't think it is.
What it's doing,
Yeah.
I think, is that like it simulates up to maybe like 5 minutes of real time
Yes,
or something.
that is what it
stops
does,
and then
yes.
goes, okay, like
Well,
maybe I'm like
things-
caching a few things that will happen once you open the phone, but
Well,
everything else just kind of stops.
The way it works is that your rooms themselves don't produce unless you've collected the stuff that is. So basically,
Yeah.
what happens is all of your rooms will produce one last time.
They get
while
up
the
to-
game is so.
yeah.
But things that run on a longer term timer, like people being out in the wasteland and returning home, or people in
Yes, exactly.
a training
Yeah,
area
yeah.
that is like will take them 8 hours.
Yep.
That clock will continue to basically
Oh, that's
everything
cool.
will just
That's
Everything just gets to its
convenient,
conclusion point
everything
and then
will
stops.
go to its end point
Yeah.
and then will not keep going.
Yep.
So you don't end up with just resource drain.
Wise.
It's
It's actually really smart when it works properly.
no, it is. Yeah.
So Ron Crawford, this is a kind of email we haven't read recently, but it was kind of nice, so I figured I'd read it. Ron Crawford writes, "Hey Thumbs, I love the show. I only recently discovered you guys, but I'm so glad I did.
Far Cry 2 is amazing.
About 6 months ago, my girlfriend of 7 years left me, and it was a rough time for me. I found your podcast while looking for a new video game podcast to try out, as I was really only familiar with the Indoor Kids before this. I instantly fell in love with the whole crew, and when I became too impatient to keep waiting week to week for a new show, I decided to go through the back catalog and listen to everything in order. I'm glad I did, as it not only gave me a great context for everyone on the show, the laughter and memories listening to some of the older episodes stirred up really helped me through my depression. Your show started not long after my ex and I began dating, so it was extremely cathartic to hear you guys discuss games I remember she and I playing together, or just events going on around that time. Today I got back to where I started, episode 194, and I'm so glad I found you guys and to hear all the new episodes I missed while catching up. I hope to hear this on the show, and if not, just know I love what you do. Keep up with the great work, and so sorry for the lengthy email. But I thought you'd all like to know you had a big impact on my year so far, including motivating me to learn Twine and Unity, as well as start up a gaming podcast with my own friends. Cheers,
That's awesome.
Ron."
Well, awesome.
Thank you, Ron.
Sorry we were total assholes in the first many episodes of this podcast.
Yeah. That was
That's
really,
cool.
really
That's
nice.
really
yeah.
Come
nice.
join our vault, Ron.
Join our vault.
We're here in MeUndies.
We
actually-
clearly have an attractive broadcast for this person.
That actually reminds me. Speaking of joining our vault, we've mentioned
I am lonely.
we mention the idle forums every once in a while, but in particular, in addition to discussion about video games and our other podcasts, like, the TV shows we discussed on our other shows that we do, the Idle Forums also have just a really great off-topic section that include nice threads, including one just about people's lives and just what's been going on in their lives and when things are tough. A lot of our forum members have...
That thread is just called Life, I think.
It is just called Life, yeah. And people just talk about stuff that's going well or going poorly. And like, it's a really nice thread that I keep up with, even though I don't post in it super frequently. It's just a nice part of that community. And it is a really, really great group of people on those forums.
My God, yeah.
Yeah, it's really a nice refuge on the internet.
It really is.
So if you, idlethumbs.net, you click on the forum links and it's a good crew. Anyway.
When I'm sad, I literally go to those forums and I feel better about life.
Nice.
Like, not even just the life thread, which I do check in on. But like if I'm depressed or if I'm having a hard day, I really actually go to the idlethumbs.net forums. This sounds like an ad, but I actually do. And it really cheers me up. People are so nice there. So
nice. Yeah. So I guess on that is our episode. You can find our forums and other things that we do at idlethumbs.net. If you also like the show, and if it helped you through a tough time, or even if you just like it because it's a goofy thing that you like, review us on iTunes. Consider rating us and leaving a review. That is the main way that people find out about the show, is when it pops up on the iTunes video game podcast category, because people have been reviewing it or downloading a lot recently.
Or your podcast reader of choice, which probably just pulls from that same database.
Yes, exactly. So that is always helpful. You can send us email at questions@idlethumbs.net. We've been getting a lot of really great email recently, so much so that I don't even know what to do with it all, but I don't want that to dissuade you from writing in more, because it is great. I've been trying to actually go through and respond to some of it when I don't have time to read, so maybe you'll be getting an email from me. Anyway, idlethumbs.net. You can find all that stuff there.
Awesome.
Cool.
This podcast is also brought to you by Zoom, an excellent video conferencing and online video chat software. You can get it at zoom.us/thumbs. Sign up for a free account.
Zoom.us. That's what it sounded like you said.
Zoom.us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Trying to check the levels, Chris?
Bloodborne, like, fucking sound effects.
It's the Serial Sam. Serial Sam? Serial Sam.
In every Serial Sam
You'll find a copy of Serious Sam, because that is what it is worth at this point.
In every bowl of cereal Sam.
Every bowl of Serial Sam.
Delicious.
Marshmallow. Guys.
A PC Gamer demo disc.
Over 300 weapons or whatever. Over 300 frames a
300
second in every bowl. 300 guys on
300
screen.
guys in your bowl.
As you raise them,
add milk.
As you raise the spoon to your mouth, all the little guys in the spoon go.
It creates a chorus effect.
Yeah, it's the snap, crackle, pop of
The world's first Doppler cereal.
Yes.
Gross. Sounds gross.
Delicious.
beautiful.
Alex, do you have any?
Beautiful.
I'm rating my list.
Even more. What is that?
That's the tie-in with Yellows.
God. Cereal
Wasn't
Sam's
that band called Yellow?
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I imagine Yellows. I guess they have to be O-shaped because I was imagining Kicks, but I guess they're not. I guess they have to be O's.
Yeah.
But yell. They make the sound. Cereal Sam Yellows. Oh, yeah.
Bow, bow.
It's the Oops All
Strangest
Berries.
three-way marketing tie-in ever conceived.